16 WEPT News at 6 starts now.
Well, good morning, and thank you for waking up with us on this Tuesday, August 28th, 2012. I'm Megan West.
And I'm Travell Island. Again, we're covering Tropical Storm Isaac. Everybody's watching and waiting, and today thousands are fleeing the coast as they prepare for Tropical Storm Isaac to make impact. Our team of reporters are covering this story from our weather center all the way down to the Mississippi coast. Let's get a check on the latest path of the storm with meteorologist Ethan Houston in Weather First.
Isaac closing in on the South Louisiana coastline could or is most likely to become a hurricane later this afternoon. Right now, maximum wind speeds of the storm are at 70 miles per hour. I do expect landfall just to the south of the mouth of the Mississippi River as a Category 1 hurricane, and then very slowly the storm will trek up close to the Mississippi and Louisiana state line late tonight, going on into the majority of Wednesday, and then this is by Friday. So we've got a good 2.5 days of this storm being very close, if not in the state of Mississippi. Here's a look at the track right now. The storm center is about 200 miles to the south of Biloxi. By 1 o'clock this afternoon, just off the coastline of Louisiana, and then 1 in the morning, not far from New Orleans as a Category 1 storm, and then working its way close to Mississippi as a tropical storm through the day Wednesday, also on in through the majority of Thursday. The storm will be either in Mississippi or just on the other side of the Mississippi River, and then starting to curve away from us on Friday, and then getting out of our weather pattern on Saturday and Sunday. So we got some time to prepare. You got about one more day of good weather before things start to take a turn for the worse. 75 degrees at 8 o'clock today, and then a few scattered showers and thunderstorms will arrive here around 5 o'clock for our southern counties. What we have to be prepared for: very heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and even the threat of some tornadoes. Who's going to be hit the hardest and who's going to get the most rain and wind? The full details on that are coming up.
Okay, thanks, Ethan. We will see you again in just a couple of minutes. You can see it clearly on Ethan's maps. Tropical Storm Isaac is moving closer to the Gulf Coast, and it is threatening a direct hit on the city of New Orleans. Travell.
That's right. And because of Isaac's threat, there are already mandatory evacuations in place. Take a look at this video coming out of New Orleans. Families are already boarding up their homes and also moving out. A state of emergency is in effect already in Mississippi and 3 other states. More than 5,000 National Guard troops are on standby this morning. And this morning, we're monitoring our stations all across the Gulf Coast. Right now, here's a look at our station in Mobile, Alabama. Their meteorologists are tracking this storm. They are expecting and preparing for the worst there, Megan. And also this morning, this is affecting a lot of people, and school closures coming up as well.
There are a lot of school closures also this morning. Travell, our station in New Orleans is reporting that just moments ago, the city of Slidell, Louisiana, began handing out sandbags to residents there. They're so worried about a rush on those that they are limiting each household to only 15, hoping that they can help everyone in the city of Slidell get prepared ahead of Isaac making landfall. And we need to talk about the response here in Mississippi. Emergency responders on the Gulf Coast are still urging neighbors to move to higher ground. As Isaac pushes west, that puts many of the vulnerable areas of the coast on that harsh side of the storm. No one knows that better than our own Scott Simmons. He is live in Biloxi. Good morning, Scott.
This wind picking up will give people more notice to get out of the way. Take a look as we're at the Small Craft Marina in Biloxi, and the wind is pushing up and pushing the waters in. It's risen about 2 feet since last night. The Department of Marine Services getting its last boat out of the water just before the storm hits. It's a big boat, but they say it can't take a beating that will come when Isaac arrives. Being on the east side of a hurricane is what they call the bad side. You get beat up with a lot of wind and a lot of water. And on the east side of this state, or rather the west side of the state where we're standing now, not a good place to be on that east side of the storm. That's over in the Bay St. Louis area. And we found from Biloxi to where we're standing now to Bay St. Louis towards Louisiana, people and businesses boarding up. They were doing it all last night. There were a good number of residents headed to higher ground, some parking their cars closer to I-10 and away from the expected storm surge. The governor says those residents over in Hancock County should move north. Some told us last night they're not going to, not at least yet.
Storm surge anywhere from 10 to 12 feet. 10 to 12 feet storm surge. If you add that to a 4-foot tide, we're looking at approximately 16 foot of water that could come inland in the streams, rivers, and tributaries.
We're hoping that's going to manage our freezer and the cooler.
You're planning on losing power?
I would think if we have wind, we will.
Right now, I don't feel like the storm, it's not making me that nervous.
The Bay St. Louis mayor telling me yesterday anything above 6 feet of storm surge in that area, and you will have flooding in the back bays and tributaries around the Bay St. Louis area. You know, they've just installed a 22-foot new seawall. They actually got control of that and finished the project just 2 months ago. We've been noticing a lot of people, though, still moving into this area to take in the storm. Our Meg Pace has been talking to folks like that. We saw some fishermen, a boater actually getting his stuff out just last night.
That's right, Scott. Just around 10, we saw one of the last boats pulled out of this marina. That boat owner taking his boat all the way to Hattiesburg to get it out of the storm's path. But at the same time he was getting out of here, we saw a few fishermen coming this way. They actually were crowded over on this dock right here behind you. They say right now before a storm is some of the best fishing they will have all year. They say the hurricane is just bringing them right in, and we were hanging out there with them a little while, dropping the line in, pulling fish in left and right, and we'll have a little more of that coming up in a few minutes.
As much as we wanted to scoff, we also couldn't help but notice they were catching a lot of fish.
A lot.
We were also noticing last night a lot of people moving in to weather the storm. For example, the Hard Rock Casino and hotel over there, they've got a big sign saying we are open, rooms available. And Meg and I were noticing last night, we had a lot of residents coming in from the New Orleans side. That's right. A lot of people. They were telling us there at the counter that they have rooms filling up very quickly right now. Often we see in the storm, people who are in the path of a storm will move one side or the other. In this case, moving over to the east side to try to find a room and wait for the storm to pass. And Meg and I, of course, have been noticing a lot of changes, the light coming up, the wind coming in, and we'll be here to bring it all for you. For Meg Pace, I'm Scott Simmons. Now back to you.
All right, thank you guys. We will see you both again just a little bit later this morning. But now we want to talk about this. Evacuation routes and shelters, a big focus for state and local leaders. Residents are being urged to make their plans right now. Andrew Kinsey is live at MEMA headquarters where they have been working around the clock. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Megan. The focus here at MEMA this morning will be to continue to track Isaac and to assist local authorities with needs like water, sandbags, and manpower. The National Guard already on the coast this morning. I'm joined by Jeff Rent from MEMA to talk about where people can go to get away from the storm.
Well, we have currently 11 shelters open in the state for residents who have no other place to go. We have another 11 shelters on standby, prepared to open if those shelters fill up. At last report, we have about 339 people in those shelters, which is telling us one thing, that a lot of people who have evacuated, we have 2 mandatory evacuation orders in Hancock and Jackson County, that they've been able to find other shelter, which is great because, you know, the shelters can be tough places to stay for an extended period of time should they need to. And we've also been in touch with the Red Cross, and they've got a great shelter app. If you're needing information on where to go, you can either load the app on your mobile phone, you can give them a call, or check for available shelters on their website. You can also call MEMA, and we have a call center with staff in it right now that can help you with shelter information, and that number is 866-519-6362, and also general questions about evacuations or anything else like that, you can get the answers there.
And just speaking of evacuations, yesterday we're expecting the governor to mention contraflow and to maybe put it into effect. Didn't happen.
It's actually an agreement between the 2 governors in the state of Louisiana, Bobby Jindal, and of course Governor Bryant. They had a phone call yesterday, and Governor Jindal decided not to request the inaction of contraflow, which is where they turn all the lanes of Interstate 59 north. And that meant they also felt that they could handle it. I've even had some family come in from New Orleans, and during Katrina it took them about 13 hours to get here to Jackson. Yesterday it took them about 5. So lighter traffic patterns down in that area. But you know, we're not out of this yet. Even though the cone is narrowed a little bit, it's really, the track is still the same as it was late yesterday, and we could see some significant impacts anywhere from central Louisiana all the way over to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We still have the warnings in place.
Jeff Rent from MEMA this morning. We're also hearing that Governor Bryant will travel back to the coast today and stay on the coast as this storm comes ashore. We'll have more from MEMA this morning, live in Pearl. Andrew Kinsey, 16 WAPT News.
All right, thank you, Andrew. You know, there's a number of schools in Mississippi already making plans to close because of Isaac. Travell?
That's right, Megan. Here's a running list of the schools that are having their schedule changes. Lincoln County, Lawrence County, Smith County, Pike County, all of those districts are going to be making changes to their schedules. In Smith County and in South Pike School District, they will close today at 1 o'clock. Now, both of those school districts will be closed on Wednesday. Smith County plans to reopen on Thursday, but South Pike hasn't set a date to reopen just yet. In Lincoln County, the schools will be open today, but closed tomorrow. Lawrence County school districts will also be dismissing their students at 1 o'clock this afternoon. afternoon and will be closed on Wednesday. All the campuses of Alcorn State University are closed on Wednesday and Thursday. And people that will be fleeing Isaac's Path may soon have a very difficult time finding hotel rooms here in the capital city because, as 16 WAPT's Aaron Kelly reports, the hotel rooms are filling up very fast.
We're across the street from the Hilton Garden Inn here in downtown Jackson. They say they are booked for the next 2 days, and it's a similar story across our area as hotels prepare for an influx of people from the coast.
We just decided to go north up to Jackson. And we both were curious about Mississippi, so we thought it would be a fun trip.
If you think you're going to be coming this way or you have family, do yourself a favor and make a reservation. That's the best thing you do. You don't want to get up here and then not have any options.
Tourism leaders say about half of the 48 hotels here in Jackson are already booked up. They're encouraging people to get those reservations in early. In Jackson, Aaron Kelly, 16 WAPT News.
Well, Governor Phil Bryant has now ordered the National Guard to deploy to the coast ahead of Isaac.
These teams will remain on hand to help transition to an increased response when the situation worsens. And believe me, it will.
Well, members of the civil support team have headed to the coast to prepare for the storm. The National Guard leaders say all of their work will depend on the storm's path, but National Guard officials say they can deploy up to 7,500 extra soldiers if needed to help in the storm. As we head to break, here is another live look this morning of the activity going on at the coast. We'll be right back. You're watching 16 WAPT News.